What if the path to living a more vibrant and empowered life, full color, wasn't about doing more, but doing things in a way that matters? Welcome to Say Yes with Kat. If you're ready to move from surviving to thriving and you want doable tools that honor your whole self, mind, body, and spirit, you're in the right place. Are you ready to say yes? Let's dive in. Welcome back to Say Yes with Kat. I'm Kat, and today we are joined once again by the ever spectacular Dr. Cynthia. I've asked her to join again today for a very special reason. When I started this series, I was just a woman with a few thoughts on health tinkering around in my head. But with Dr. Cynthia's help on air and off, this podcast has made it past a point only 10% of podcasts ever do. Episode 20. This is a huge milestone, y'all.
That is a huge milestone, and it's taken a good amount of work, some late nights. I think the key was just showing up and just putting out content and seeing what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I couldn't have done it without you. So I am, in front of all of our listeners, going to formally ask you to please join this show with me fully. I'll even rebrand it. We can change the name. We can make it more, our style. What do you think?
Agreed. I'm all in.
Cool. So we actually talked about this off air. No surprise, right, listeners? We are going to change the name from Say Yes with Kat to Full Color Wellness. And it's going to be just giving ourselves more permission to just be us, unfiltered. We'll tell you more about that later. Before we dive into this episode fully, we do want to take a moment to acknowledge the moment that we're all living in. This is week 4 of the government shutdown. People are worried about paychecks, food benefits, and honestly, what the next few weeks are going to look like.
Yeah, we don't want to focus on politics. I'm not about politics. But to talk about the people side of this and try to bring forth tools we use and share with our friends and family in times of uncertainty like this, because it is a little bit crazy right now.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. So this is going to be all about people. And starting with people, let's give you all a great, big, huge thank you for following us through all 20 episodes. You're going to find, starting with this season finale, that we are leaning into our unfiltered selves. Right? So we're preparing for our next season under the new podcast name, Full Color Wellness. So today, it's just going to be us. Just real talk, full color.
So with all that's going on, all the crazy stuff in the world we just talked about, stress is real. There's lots of stress. A friend of mine recently had a panic attack because of all this stuff and worry with her job being at risk and all these things. So I'm going to talk about stress for a little bit and introduce the 4 stress responses. So the first 3, fight, flight, and freeze, you're probably more familiar with. And there's a 4th one called fawn. Oh. So these reactions are natural reactions. They happen in our unconscious, right? Just like you don't think about your heart beating or your hair growing. You don't have to think about that. These reactions just naturally occur. So let's talk about each one a little bit. Fight is what happens if your body perceives a threat and you believe you can overpower it, right? So you're going to get aggressive. You're going to take the initiative there.
That is definitely mine.
That is definitely yours. You're a scrappy little thing, yes. Flight is you can't overcome the danger, but you can avoid it by running away. So that's flight. Mm-hmm. Freeze is you get stuck in place. You don't think you can fight or run. You're just kind of in this frozen spot. So you freeze. And fawn is when you're not really successful with fight, flight, or freeze. And so then you start to go in this mode of trying to appease and say everything's okay. And we're all good, even though you feel like crap. And that's not the truth at all, right? But you're trying to just get through the situation somehow. So those are the 4 reactions that you can have to stress. And what you do, which response you have is bio-individual. So it's going to be based on stuff unique to you, your history, if you've been in an abusive relationship or violence situations before, maybe you just want to avoid them. Maybe you want to appease and try not to have those things happen.
But we start to have that stress response, not just to like physical endangerment, but we'll have that same kind of stress response to anything that sparks off our stress, right?
I mean, whether it's real or perceived. Yeah, whether it's mental or physical, yes, you'll have that same reaction.
Okay.
So your history, your autonomic system, that's individual. But if you don't like it, if you don't like the way you respond, if it's not serving you well in your life, it's causing conflict in your relationships. I've had issues where I kind of freeze with my thoughts and I don't respond, and I'm just kind of internally processing in things, and people think I'm not invested, for example, in something, which isn't the case. So if you don't like it, you can overcome it. So you can change it with some work, how you respond. But the first thing is kind of being aware of what you do. So I shared an example with me that I tend to freeze, right? So you've seen that with me.
A little bit.
So the thing you need to do when you have one of these reactions is realize, okay, I'm having a reaction to stress. Now, how can I change that response? So a little cognitive work there. And so you can, I've said before, I'm stuck, like I'm just spinning here. I don't have a response, like help me out. You could move your body. You could do some breathing to bring yourself, calm yourself down a bit and re-engage. You can write it down if you have time, or, those types of things. But you can change what you're doing in terms of that reaction.
Yeah, I've seen all of those kind of move you out of that freeze, stuckness that you get into sometimes when stress roars its head at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you do have an emotion that's really intense, like a really intense reaction to something, you really should try and do something to kind of cleanse that from you, if you will, or kind of calm yourself down, to discharge that emotion. So physical movement, you can shake it out, literally. Just shake your body, move your body. Creative expression, so, whatever floats your boat. Chanting, singing, art, whatever. And connecting, just connection. Cuddle with a partner, cuddle with a pet. Go ugly cry on someone.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So try and do something to counteract that charged emotion, because often we just roll on to the next thing. And when you have prolonged kind of chronic stress like that, which we have stress reactions, not just like back originally when there was a tiger chasing us, we have stress reactions to email and all these different things.
Yeah.
And when that chronic stress builds up, that causes inflammation. And inflammation is like a pathway for virtually every disease, mental and physical. So we could go on and on. I'm going to stand down now, but maybe we'll do another segment on that. But you really want to try and address and calm down this stress.
Yeah, we should invite our listeners to comment on how they're experiencing stress and give us some of their own insights that they have come about with this awareness. I'll share one for me. So I've been nerding out, studying quantum physics, and read this book. It's been really good, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I'll put it in the show notes. But he talks about this idea that chronic stress pushes us out of balance, across our mind, body, and spirit. So I read that and I'm like, yeah, duh, I get it. Makes sense. But then he took it a step further and he's like, no. It doesn't just push us out of balance. What it does is it causes you to detach from sort of your mind and your spirit self, and it hyper focuses you on the body. And I don't just mean like the body we live in. I mean like the body, the physical presence of
physical things in the world.
Yeah. And the timing of reading this was so good for me because I went through this like 6 weeks of uber stress. And I got to tell you guys, Dr. Cynthia had my back, because the outcome of it was all of a sudden I'm like, babe, we got to sell our house and move, and it's too big or it's too small and the yard just needs too many things in it. And oh, by the way, I hate all of my clothes. I'm going to burn them. I need a whole new look, and I don't like my hair, so I'm just going to dye it red or cut it off purple, whatever my jam is. And I was so hyper focused on the physical aspects of things that I thought I could control, because I was having all of this stress, this chronic stress coming up for me. Awareness truly is where we can start, because I recognized, hey, there's something going on with me. And then I read this and I realize what's going on is I'm not connected enough to my mind, and I'm not connected enough to my spirit. And I need to lean into that to counterbalance this hyper focus that I'm having. And how did I do that? We had a friend over for dinner. It was really nice. She filled my cup up. I loved it. And I did, some reading that nourished me and helped me shift my perspective a little bit. And I spent some time doing more meditative Qigong movements so that I could reconnect with the spiritual support that I have for myself. And good news, audience, we're not moving.
Super good news.
Yeah, exactly. So I think awareness is a good thing, and being aware that your stress response could be fight or flight or freeze or fawn. And if you have a chronic stress situation, and you're finding yourself hyper-focused on your physical environment, that's a real thing, okay? It's not specific to you. And you can counterbalance that, and you can lean into, some of the suggestions that Dr. Cynthia brought us today to get back into your balance. Yeah. So, when stress hits, real responses, real stories. Speaking of stress, we are coming up on the holiday season, and we are also doing our season finale for the Supercharged Series. No surprise here. We are going to be giving you supercharged holiday hints for real world, right?
I can't believe the holidays are here already.
I know. I want to start by sharing a little story with everybody. So as you heard, we didn't sell our house. What we did is we went to an HOA meeting, and there was some conflict. I will put it nicely. There was some conflict in the room, some disconnect going on. And it ended gracefully. But when we left, one of the takeaways for me was we should try to create an opportunity to bring the neighborhood together as kind of like a gathering, right? So that we could reconnect and get to know each other outside of the HOA room.
I mean, to be clear, it was HOA conflict, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like person-to-person conflict. It was like, you can't touch my property to do such and such. It wasn't
concerns that, we shared. But, so I had this idea, let's have this gathering. And let's use Halloween, right? It's coming up, so it's nice and fast. And I immediately got overwhelmed. I'm like, I got it, because, I'm in this hyper-focused state. So I got to make my yard perfect. I got to find a budget to come up with all of the foods and snacks anybody could possibly want if I invited them over. And it was getting to the point where I'm like, never mind, we're not going to do it. And I took a step back, and I took a deep breath, and I'm like, what actually matters? So we scaled it down. It's an informal 6 to 8. We're going to have a couple little bonfires out there, and, a case of beer, a case of soda.
She dialed it back from homemade salsa and all these crazy things. Yeah.
I did. But it feels so much better. So we're having it October 31st in our neighborhood. And we're calling it the Fire and Cider Gathering. And I think people are really looking forward to it. And we're going to break down that example to help everyone understand how we kind of use these supercharged holiday hints in our own life, how we kind of walked our talk. So it started with this idea, this key hint that I'm going to give you right now, which is connect before you correct. The idea is that when tension rises, as it does in the holiday season, family, coworkers, friends, lead with empathy, right? Try to understand how that person may be feeling instead of being so quick to get them to understand your perspective. Another way you can lean into connecting before you correct is try giving them the benefit of the doubt first. I often find when I don't understand why someone is doing something the way that they're doing it, or why they haven't, why haven't you mopped the floor yet? If I give them the benefit of the doubt, instead of asking that specific question in a sarcastic way, I might come to them and say, hey, what do you have going on? Is there something I can do because the floor needs to be mopped, but maybe you have something going on?
I take it as that feeling when in my head I'm like, hold up, right? And you want to say that next thing, like, hold up, why haven't you done this? Or what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's when I try and take a breath. You could ask a question like Kat said, or you can also call their attention to their presentation. Often people aren't aware of how they're presenting their behaviors, and it's so often not about you or anything like that. So just saying, oh, you seem a little stressed, or you sound upset, and they may go, oh my God, and here's what's really going on. And it sheds some light on it, and you feel better.
And they feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
So the takeaway here is connect before you correct. It's going to help bring some sense of belonging, some sense of safety, which can regulate the stress, and that leads to better communication and less confrontation. So let's get into the second key hint here in our little example. Lead with simplicity. Okay. Simple doesn't mean small, right? It just means sustainable. It means what you have there, when it's less, you have the opportunity to make it more meaningful and more caring. So, we are making tres leche cakes, and they're little small ones, and it's a quick, fast recipe, but it's a way to share heritage this time of the year. And it means more when the people show up instead of just putting out a bowl of candy, right? It's a tres leches cake. She's giving me this funny look because I said the word heritage. So our niece is Mexican, and it's the Day of the Dead.
I just wanted some clarification
there.
Well,
there you go. See, connect before you correct.
I just had to give you a look.
Yes. So leading with simplicity. And as we're going into the holiday season, this can carry through into your family meals that you're having. So leading with affordable grounding options. I'm talking about soups and stews. Beans, they're fantastic. They're cheap. You can have them pull on any flavor profile. And roasted root vegetables. They're very nourishing. So not expensive, but sustainable for the well-being.
So good.
Yeah, they are so good.
So another hint is move energy, not money. You want to get moving. You want to get your body moving. You don't need a lot of money to do that. There's all these fancy gyms you can go to and have memberships and pay for all these classes, but you just need to move, right? You can walk, stretch, you can do qigong, you can dance while you're cooking.
We do that.
You do that. You can invest your energy in experiences rather than money into things. So you can explore that mindset shift of investing your energy into actually having unique experiences or new things. And people report stronger emotional bonds and happiness from quality time instead of receiving material gifts. So that was actually a study done at the University of Texas and Cornell. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to be happy or make people happy. And there's other ideas as well. So instead of gifts and wrapping, spend that time making or doing something together. Cook a nice meal together and just enjoy the meal. Go hiking, volunteer, craft, do whatever, give little gifts. But I think if you think about how much stress it causes you to try and figure out, oh my gosh, what should I get these 18 people or everybody at work or all these things and wrap and and you don't have the time and it stresses you out. They're probably stressed out too. One of the greatest things ever is saying to someone let's agree not to give gifts this year. And I swear they'll be like, oh my goodness, thank you. Let's do this instead or whatever it is.
The gift that you bring in is time.
Exactly.
Right. So you're giving your energy, not your money.
Yep.
Right. Good. So the takeaways, just really quick, is connecting before you correct. Lead with simplicity and move your energy, not your money. So what's next? We're going to give you a sneak peek of our Evolved podcast starting on November 12th, which is a Wednesday. So very important to note, we'll be doing these on Wednesdays moving forward. You're going to hear from Full Color Wellness Unfiltered. Because guess what, guys? Balance is messy. Wellness is wild. And Dr. Cynthia and I are here for the ride. Yes. We're going to be mixing real talk, wellness wisdom, and as always, we're going to blend my ancient traditions with her modern science. Yep, I'm very excited. So don't forget to go back and listen to this Supercharged series in case you missed any of the last 10 episodes. And you'll still hear from us. It's just going to be on Wednesdays under the new name, Full Color Wellness Unfiltered. And we look forward to having you keep following along on the journey.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all the things we mentioned. Who also might health trends be good for and not good for? There's so much out there. We'll help guide you a bit. And we want to hear from you. What health and wellness trends and products, etc., are you curious about and whether they're a fit for you? And we'll have some experts on also to provide additional guidance.
I'm excited about the other experts. I'm not going to lie. And we also have a new Wellness Warrior community that you can find us on Facebook. Just literally Full Color Wellness Warrior. Stay connected for our future podcast launches. And we look forward to seeing you for season 2. Before you leave, please share the wealth of health by liking and subscribing to our channel. And remember, this is your journey. It's all about taking these small, meaningful steps towards a healthier, happier you. Full color. Until next time, say yes to your well-being and take care. Content of this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Please consult a licensed healthcare provider before beginning any new health practice. Do not ignore or delay seeking medical advice because of something shared in this episode. If you're experiencing a medical emergency, call 911 or visit your nearest emergency room. Listening does not create a practitioner-client relationship. Yes to Holistic Health makes no guarantees regarding outcomes based on the information provided. Copyright notice, Yes to Holistic Health, all rights reserved. This content may be shared for non-profit educational purposes with credit to Yes to Holistic Health. No commercial use without written permission.